let's recap real quick. Richard went on a tweetish storm over the last, I would say 7-8 days. So December 21st, that was the decorrelated. I just want to set the stage here for everyone. He was like, decorrelated Ethereum? And that struck me as super interesting. Like I did a stream on it and a lot of people talked about it as well. He didn't say uncorrelated, but he said decorrelated. And he showed, prices of some of the assets here in the ecosystem. And then we got strong like bull on February 25th. So that was Fed can't keep up. PulseChain solves this. Strong like bull. So at first I was like, okay, he's just taking another opportunity. Something goes down or otherwise showing our network is up and all that stuff. But now today I'm like strong like bull. What did that man? All the tea leaves, man. The tea leaves, the coffee beans. What was going on there? And then February 26th. This is I just titled it "Year of Gains in a Day," which I literally had to reread some of these tweets because when they first come out, some people look at them for a while. Some people are just like, yeah, passing. Oh, that's cool. He tweeted. But I went back and looked at this one this morning, and it was like some people prefer to make a year of gains in a day.
Wow, it's in your face.
It just the little things like the rest of it's like okay, talking about scenarios and all this stuff, and he says that. Volatility, and then of course, the greatest hits. Volatility is the price you pay for the world's best performing asset. Not backing away from the bullishness of the ecosystem. Then yesterday, big day. I had Money Game Crypto on here. We talked about the dive movements and otherwise. February 28th, 3 tweets in a row. 240K Bitcoin. Some people call it a call, speculation. He put a question mark there. He named a price, whatever you want to call it. But now he's talking about a huge number. If you're not aware, Bitcoin is around 60K plus or minus right now. I haven't checked up to the minute, but it is not this number. So sounds interesting. I mean, anything on this one too, because I've asked some people like, what about this Bitcoin tweet in particular? Before we move on, is there anything that strikes you as interesting more than just the price? Either one of you?
Well, yeah. I mean, go ahead, Axel.
Well, I think it's an inflection point where, who is better to talk about a massive change in the setup of something so big about Bitcoin as Richard Hart. Like he's probably the only person that you really need to listen to on bullish price targets. Like his track record is flawless. And so, I wouldn't have been comfortable calling this kind of a number on Bitcoin for the future. Like I was comfortable between 120 and 140K in like a best case scenario. And then just after watching the action the last few weeks on the ETF, obviously that became more clear that was going to be a decent range to potentially hit. But I never would have came out and doubled that almost, at least add 100 grand, like to that number, to 241,500. Like that's a pretty specific number, first of all. And, look, I'm proud to admit that I called the triple bottom on the bear market for the S&P 500, and that's public and it's on Twitter, and I retweeted it out just a couple days ago. But I wasn't comfortable calling $241,000 Bitcoin. It's because he's doing this because he's seeing how big this is going to be, and it goes back to some analysis that we've been doing on some public streams, some private streams about this Bitcoin cycle looking a lot more like the 2015 through 2017 bull market cycle, and not so much like the last few years of data. Like the 2017 blow off top on Bitcoin and the subsequent ABC correction in price over multiple years, and then the straight up vertical rally on all of the leverage in the system and the bad actors, and then the double top. All of that was shaking out all of the bad money in cryptocurrency, I think. And all that's now kind of consolidated and shook out. And now the money's getting handed over to, and the Bitcoins mainly, and potentially Ether and others are getting handed over now to institutions, and which is going to stabilize the system a lot more, which has been my fear for years of basically institutions getting all the coins and then squeezing the volatility out of it. And, but I think it's so early in terms of institutional adoption and global percentage of people in crypto that I got that wrong a little bit, and that this cycle could actually be amazing. And this is the validation that I needed, that this is actually going to potentially line up to be the super cycle that we got cheated out of in the last cycle.
Yeah, that's pretty astute, observation. I looked at these numbers, I see that, and I said, well, it's just a 4x from where we are now, right, in Bitcoin terms. So, and there's you're exactly right. Richard's seen the bigger picture because he's really paying attention to the overall global markets and how Bitcoin is going to be utilized by the institutions. And we've always said that when institutions come in, that's when things are really going to kick off. That's always been the narrative. And we're seeing this and play out in front of our eyes. So it's kind of interesting to be here watching it in real time. And so I look at this and I say, well, if Bitcoin's going to go up, that means all the bond liquidity that Bitcoin has will pull everything else up with it across the board. So even the sorriest meme token is going to go up in value because it's bonded to Bitcoin somehow, or Ethereum. Ethereum will go up. Maybe Ethereum is 20. If Bitcoin goes 241, what does it do to Ethereum? Does it go to 20,000? I don't know. I mean, it might. Who knows? But what's the fees going to be like on Ethereum? Are you going to want to pay a half ETH to inject hex stake? That's 10 grand. And so that there's some reality of the issues we come to grips with if Ethereum does a trend with Bitcoin with this bond liquidity. So Hart's law is in play. We all know it. We all understand it, and it'll play across the markets. And so I don't know what the new next low is going to be. Maybe Bitcoin bottoms out at maybe 60 or 80K is a new bottom for Bitcoin on the next bear. Who knows? It depends on how much institutional money comes in and supports the system, and then what the governments do, with their allocations, and we got laws and everything else happening in the world too. So I'm sure they'll play a part into the cycle as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I like all that. And I mean, to the comment about bear market lows, I think the number that I wanted to see already that we haven't seen yet was like a retest of 35K. So, but I'm pretty sure that if we hit 240K, 35K is out of the question. So like it really everything's kind of changed up now for me personally, because I mean, if we only went to 80K and we had, the dull cycle like some people are calling for, yeah, 35K retest on the next bear market lows is obvious, right? Because we just need to go test that market structure. But because of the supply shortage, and like you're saying, that reinvestment and upholding of the value that's been accrued here, something that you can't ignore that possibility. Now, I also have another thought about Bitcoin is Bitcoin not, by its bonded liquidity and by its very existence and presence in the global markets, not pulling up the entire world economy with it? It sounds crazy, but if this whole entire crypto market cap could be set for $8 to $16 trillion a cycle, is it not effectively being a better store of value than a lot of other methods of value storage across the globe? Or is it not at least going to impact the flow of money in a big way? Because it's basically redistributing economic energy from the old world to the new world. And what I mean by that is, like, assume you live in Argentina and your currency is like going to zero every day, but you could plug in a Bitcoin miner on your electrical grid and earn a year's wage in just like a quarter, 3 months. You could earn a whole year's wage in your native currency because you have one Bitcoin miner that might cost like a couple $100 because it's like a last cycle miner. Like, getting your hands on that, and it's what it's doing is it's re-enabling other parts of the world to come online, and it's being bootstrapped by the power of Bitcoin. So it's a really big idea when you really break out and you look at everything and what's actually happening here. And that's why in my tweet yesterday, I was like, just remember who was here and who's still on the mission, and just remember who was here for the wrong reasons, and listen to the people that are actually, that care more than just about the number on the screen. Because I know we all want to make mad gains, obviously, hello. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get on this computer every day to get rich. If I wanted to get rich for myself, like I didn't need to do any of that. Like this was all going to happen anyway. But I'd rather get the message out there, and just be a source of change in the world, man. It's this is literally the battlegrounds of a 30+ year culmination, an effort, a battle plan executing out, where cypherpunks and technologists of the 70s and 80s are finally seeing a potential here for a globalized, decentralized currency model that can completely shake up the entire economics of the entire world.
Well, that's why they're fighting it, though. That's what the centralized exchange is all banning things. They can't stand, the people having control of their own money and monetary policy. They can't stand it. mean, but El Salvador, they're in good shape right now, right? They bought a whole bunch of that Bitcoin bottom down when it was, 20, 25K. And so
Shout
they're
out to El
doing really,
Salvador.
really well, right? I mean, so that's pretty forward thinking, And so, and all the people who kind of during the bear cycle, like, oh no, this is terrible. Now they're like, well, this is actually pretty good. We just 3x all our gains. And where can you 3x your money as a country? You think about it without having to sell anything. Their GDP just went up 3x. Look at that.
Crazy, man.
Right? I mean, that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency solved it for them. So I would think other countries might say, you know what, that was a pretty good idea. I might try that as well because that's pretty shrewd.
Argentina guy seems to like Bitcoin, or you at least used to. Yeah, there's something to be said too, just for not only again, I wish everyone out there the maddest gains, and I think that if I can do it in a way that can not only I can give myself an edge, but I can help scale that edge and help give people good information and all that stuff too, and help them realize their dreams. That's much more satisfying than just Scrooge McDucking it. Like, oh yeah, I got rich, I rug pulled some token or whatever, or I didn't really help anyone, but well, good luck. The zero sum status. I try to avoid that, and I think you can totally do it in this ecosystem. There's a lot of ways to do it, and I first started streaming because Hex had given me so much already. Like I'd benefited in so many ways from from Richard and Hex and otherwise, and I'm like, I want to give back. PulseChain's coming, all this stuff. I want to have utility. I want to do more than just like hang out and watch streams and stuff. I want to be part of that greatest ecosystem on earth. So it's a great opportunity for people. Again, if you're new here, still green pastures. We haven't done everything yet. Trust me.
I'm gonna go and retweet this. This is a good tweet, man.
Thank you. There you go. Trying to provide value. There you go. Trying to demonstrate. See, I can do it on Twitter, and I can take the tweets and put them on the stream. Boom, boom. February 28th, continuing here. Bottom calls are hard. I'm pretty much summarizing these. Bottom calls are hard. Also, check out these timestamps. Plus, best way to predict the future is to build it. This is a pretty cool one. It's got a couple things in it. You don't usually see him. I don't know what the word for this is. Not apologize. He's just not brag. He's bragging in a way, but he's saying who else is. I mean, there's other tweets to back this up. Like who else called the bottom? Who else did this? Like who's great at bottom calls? I'm great at top calls. Who's good at bottom calls? And also to Axe's point, I think you mentioned earlier, Bitcoin isn't at all new all-time highs yet, and neither are the coins I founded. So many little messages, little things. It's okay. How many smiley faces have you seen Richard put in tweets? I don't see a lot of smiley faces in his tweets. That was alarming to me. He put a smiley face. What does that mean? I like that. And then the best way to predict the future is to build it. Again, in hindsight, it's all little clues here, little clues. I called Money Gang or somebody said in the chat the detective, the detective of detective. We're being the RH detectives right now. In hindsight, it's always 2020. So yeah, this is that was an interesting one. And then Bears Erect, the third one, top off the yesterday's February 28th. Oops, did I post the same link? Yeah, I might have posted the shoot, my bad. All right, let me just go to his Twitter real quick. He's already gained 20K follow, not 20K, but 200 followers since I checked this morning, by the way. He was at 39 something, and now he's at over 340. Let's see, where's the Bears Erect one? Because that was a good one too. Bear with me. There we go. So Bears Erect beyond all belief. Doesn't mean there's not dips in the game, but there still is. Bear hopes. Basically, the biggest thing I think in hindsight is bears are wrecked, which if you take the opposite of that, bulls are going to do well, hopefully, if you were to reverse that. No crystal ball, hope the last bear. He talks about this. And then another smiley face. Look at the second smiley face. There's two smiley faces now. Welcome to volatility. Only to the upside recently. Haha. Will that continue, Richard? Will that continue? And then the last one. The one this morning. The one that set the ecosystem on fire. It feels like everything else is flying up while PulseX, PulseChain, and Hex are just sitting there. Have you ever considered selling? If something makes you feel bad, makes you want to complain, maybe just be done with it. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, man. Oh, Greg the Duck. Oh, man.
He was trolling hard. trolling hard. I saw that like, yeah, he's fixing to move. And that was the same time we saw the DAI transfer too, about the same time. So if you were watching the wallets, you saw what was fixing to happen. So it was, yeah, he was laying out breadcrumbs for everybody. If you pay attention to what Richard does, it's really not that complicated. He's pretty transparent when he's ready to do something.
2 smiley faces and then daring you to leave. Mm-hmm. Boy, that math adds up in hindsight. Love it. So, yeah, and then I love it. I love Maybe Done With Us. I started saying maybe Done With It is the new how's everybody doing today? Because right after that, massive pump, and I'll just give a preview. I'm sure Axe is going to have some amazing charts on this, but look at this. Oh, I'm on 7 days, 24 hours. Wow. I just got 6 hours now. It's impressive. All right, don't look at that. 24 hours. Just green. Pretty cool. And yeah, hopefully we'll have some, there'll be some more. I mean, if we would have looked at it this morning, it would have been a lot more impressive on the short term, but boy, just green right after that.
We'll just have to look at it we'll have to look at the daily close later today and see where we end up. But yeah, I mean, it's right in the cut there. I wouldn't be surprised to see us close above 1560. Some level I'd like to see us close above. Be super bullish.
I also saw I want to get into the resistance too, because I heard some talk about that. We broke through 1 and the next one is at 2 something, I believe. But real quick, just to wrap up this, just for fun, bonus tweet. After all that happened, things are up 20%, 30%, 40% today. I thought you guys wanted to sell. I thought you wanted to click sell. This guy. Guy. Fearless leader. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Well, how much did all the DAI that was transferred over, how much was deployed? I don't know off the top of my head. I've been busy all day.
1.2 million is the last I heard, so not much.
Out of what, 10, 12? What was the total? I can't remember.
I think there's over 20 is bridged in now, but I could be wrong.
Well, so basically 10 to 1/10 or 1/20 of it.
Tiny amount has been deployed.
Yeah. So this is just the beginning, and that's not even including what else is in the war chest, right? From SAC funds, not to mention the daily yield from the MakerDAO deposits from that from the 7% yield on that, which can be deployed at any given time. So yeah, it's a good place to be if you're a PulseChain guy.